Y'all, who knew that out of this shit show of a season of Below Deck, one bright spot would appear, Poodle, and that's Eddie with a beard.
Oh my God. He always needs to keep that.
Oh, what the fuck?
I'm going to go even further. Fraser looked hot. I don't know what happened.
He did better makeup.
He looked kind of like, he wasn't like blousy and prissy like he normally is. He was kind of like, hey, bro.
Hey, bro.
Hey,
Wow.
bro.
Wow.
I'm really not attracted to that. A little bit I am.
Yeah, you are a little bit. You might want to process
If he
that.
wore a backwards hat, I'd be into him.
Oh, ooh, why would you say that now? I am too. I kind of am into Eddie without a beard and with. I kind of want to like
I'm
clone
only into
him
him with a beard.
Oh, I kind of want to clone him and like have Eddie with the beard top me, and then Eddie without a beard just well, no, he would top me too. So there we go. Y'all, this is Below Deck.
He'd be on deck.
He'd be on deck.
On dick. On
On
dick. It's Below Dick. The final episode of this season. We made it, you slags. I can't believe it.
That we made it, you slags.
You slags.
You slags. All right, Poodle. Overall thoughts on this reunion?
Meh.
It was kind of boring.
There was no Jake to make it spicy or fun.
Well,
it was pretty joyless.
It was joyless, and I'm glad you brought that up. It was a lot of. I know a lot of drama, especially in the deck crew, focused around leadership and Jake, and he wasn't here to talk about it.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. There wasn't. A lot of times there are hookups to talk about. There wasn't any of that.
No.
There was the kiss between Jake and Fraser and a little bit between Raina, but Raina's not talking about it. And
Fraser isn't either.
And Jake's not there. So it's I'm so glad they did not decide to do this as a two-parter. That's what I was worried about. So any Below Deck reunion we can do in 42 minutes meant the season was a snooze.
It's true.
And the less said, the better.
The less said there wasn't even a lot of plot points, y'all. The way we're not gonna go through kind of all of this a play by play, because some stuff was just honestly the same shit we've seen. So and clips, but we wanted to kind of go through and talk about moments that stood out for us. Buoys that were floating on the water.
What?
A buoy, like little.
Was that your tea bags? My buoy?
I don't know. But I don't know a lot about sailing, I don't know a lot of sailing terminology.
I think I suggested buoys once instead of tea bags. You're like, no, we're keeping it tea bags.
I don't remember that. Not familiar. You're
Never
right,
mind.
though. We should keep it tea bags. All right. Oh, God. I think you did.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, wow.
I remember it very clearly.
Now I don't like that idea. Let's use tea bags. See? Okay, you're right. Okay. Poodle, what's your first thing you want to discuss?
Besides that Fraser's hot, I completely forgot Jess was on this season.
I did too.
And I'm not saying that to be shady. She left my head. She left my memory.
She did, and it was kind of hard. Honestly, it was hard to recognize her and Raina because they both got their faces beat so much. Y'all, those bitches went to the Mac counter before.
And Jess got a blowout.
Jess got a blowout. She looked good, but they both looked nothing like this on the boat.
And I just was like, I don't know. And like Kaylee was there for like 5 minutes, and I'm like, good. We don't know you. Yes, you were here to be fun. We don't really know because these people are new. A lot of these people are new except for Eddie. we don't have any old baggage to talk about.
No, we
And
don't.
because we had strong personalities, but we had no one. This sounds bad, but there was no one really to love except for Rachel.
Except for Rachel,
Yeah.
and it's to compare it to another Bravo show we do, like to compare it to uh, Summer House, but I was going to say Southern Charm. Even these characters have so much history that when they talk about something,
Right.
it's there's so much subtext to what they're saying, and this is just
This is a mostly
shallow
new crew with a new chief stew who got mixed reviews from viewers at best. Let's be
at best.
honest.
Yeah.
They seem to. I'm sure that Heather is probably good at her job. We've seen her do, and I think the crew likes her. With the exception of Jess and Raina, obviously.
Raina.
But and Captain Lee does, and I think she's filming currently. But I don't think she makes good TV. I think it's very hard for viewers to connect with her. She doesn't show enough. When she does show vulnerability, it is kind of in a way that where she's breaking and almost barely holding on, so it's not comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it all feels, even though I don't, this may not be her intention, it all feels rehearsed.
It feels. I was going to say,
And
it feels
yeah,
like when she's vulnerable, it feels like it's only on her terms.
and the thing is,
So I get that
and
rehearsed thing you're saying.
I feel like I'm being judgmental because I don't think it's not that she did badly on the reunion. She was pretty honest about what she thought. I think that's just her affect.
Yeah, I think so
Like,
too. Because they did talk about how she said, I don't wanna be a kindergarten teacher. I don't wanna be an encourager." She said, "I'm just not that way." And she's just kind of that's right. Her affect is very sometimes kind of
it's
flat and
flat,
just
it's
blunt
cold,
and
and even more than that, I think it's the only way I can talk about it is, which Raina called her, fake. And I don't think she
I
may
don't think
be.
but I don't think she's fake.
I don't think she's fake. I think that's
No.
her.
I think she's being very honest with, I think she's being very honest with Raina, but, it
Right.
just feels but ironically, you have Raina who's emotional all over the place, and she's speaking out of one side of her mouth in the beginning of the tell-all, and then at the second half, she's speaking out of her other side of her mouth, literally in the same 40-minute show.
Yeah. And you guys, she did do kind of her own tell-all on a podcast on YouTube. Someone kind of did the highlights. We didn't watch, but someone said she basically on this said the tell-all was boring before. This was after she filmed it. And she said now she was basically blaming Eddie and production. And so that was it, and that was talked a little bit about on. She did talk about Eddie, and this kind of went around. The tell-all got to that near the end, but it was kind of weird. She had decided that the enemy was not Heather by the end.
Yeah, it
Um,
is it is funny. Yeah, it totally even though she says she's fine with Heather, she doesn't like Heather.
right.
So she doesn't wanna
That was mine. Is I forgot that Jess was here.
Alright, well, let's talk about Jess because Jess says that she talked about, Andy kind of asked her, what was her experience? She said the whole experience of the camera crew gave her anxiety, which I get that. And she said it was too much to handle. Um, and Heather said, "Yeah, it was rough at first, but then you kind of get used to it." But then Jess came for Heather and said, "I think it was wrong of her to put pressure on me and bring me out of laundry and put me under stress. You don't do that to someone. Obviously, she's setting me up for failure."
Yeah, I think that's an
I
unfair
think
thing to
that's
say.
100% not true. I do
Yeah.
agree because she did say, first of all, you and I were like, this is a good way for Heather to show some leadership.
Right.
And also, y'all, Jess fucking asked her like twice. Remember, y'all, Jess started the season and said, I want to be in laundry. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to do anything else. I just want to be in laundry. And then
Right.
several weeks later, she's like, can I get out of laundry?
Like, I love laundry. And remember, you guys, why would Heather want to have a failure at all? That's like the last thing she wants.
Well,
She wants everything to go really well.
Fraser said it correctly when he said that he said he couldn't disagree more. There's no way. I just think, and Heather's right. Heather is right. This is season 9 of this show. She knew what this fucking show was about.
Well, she wasn't ready to be on TV.
She wasn't ready to be on TV. And again, Heather did the same thing of she never voiced concern. I was team Heather on this conversation. I think Jess,
me too.
Honestly, I'm just like, I feel like Jess wants to be a martyr. And she's just like, wah. I just was like, wah. I just think she just didn't want to be on TV. And I think she's just boring.
I think the more you watch these reunions, you will see people have very changed perspectives after they watch themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, these are not professional either actors or wannabe.
No.
These are people who have decided they want to be on television, and watching themselves makes them see things very differently. And this magical thinking, they've convinced themselves of things.
Yeah.
So you'll see that on Below Deck reunions more than, well, you'll see that on Housewives reunions because they're fucking crazy.
They're crazy.
But you'll see that because they filmed it and they're ready to talk about it all. And it's
I do think yes, I think Jess, it felt like she came up with a narrative and she's gonna
exactly.
She said, I can make Heather look like the evil one. And I'm sorry, that just because it just totally undercuts her. If it was all Heather's fault, when Andy said, Jess, what are you doing now? She could have said, oh, I'm a stew right now on a ship and da, 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 da. Instead, she's like, I totally got out of being a stew business. I'm doing something completely different and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
I'm like, there you go.
And honestly, y'all, we all knew Jess wasn't long for the boat by episode 2. If you've watched this show for a long time, you're like, when's she leaving? TikTok. Because she didn't really like anybody. Even Wes, who wanted to bang her, no game Wes, even he really couldn't get her to open up. And we know they don't last very long on shows like this.
No.
So it's just it. Jess, we hardly knew you, and
we don't care to know the rest.
I don't need to know you.
Yeah, we're fine.
Good blowout, though. Good blowout.
Good blowout, and good journey. Good journey.
Good journey. Good journey. Peace be your journey.
Peace be your journey, Jess.
Someone who said that? Oh, that was one of my neighbors who. Remember that when someone parked in her space?
Yes, Poodle had the craziest crunchy neighbor.
She left it on someone's car when they had parked in her space. Yeah. So this is my space. Don't ever park here again. Peace be your journey.
Peace be your journey.
So y'all, every time you realize tell someone to fuck off, get right in their face and say, "Peace be your journey."
Peace be your journey, bitch. Put that on March. All right, Poodle. Hey, Raina's sober. What do you think about that?
I'm saying good for her because seems like it's making her. She said that she was.
Did she listen to the show? Because we said several times she has a lot of childhood trauma, and when she said that on the thing, I went.
Well, we said that she has a lot of trauma that she hasn't processed. Definitely,
we've said that several times, and when she said that almost verbatim on the show, I don't think she listened.
And I will say that someone like that who's dealing with trauma and you're running away from it with alcohol, and she didn't obviously drink on duty, but when she would drink, the worst of Raina was brought out often.
Yeah, very much.
And and it did feel like she was drinking to either forget or not feel.
Yeah, it's a lot like Kyle on Summer House.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that's a sad comparison, but you're right.
Spot on, sadly. So I'm glad she's. I wish her the best of luck.
I'm glad she's making changes. That's what I'll say. I'm glad she's making changes.
Yes, I'm glad Rachel's had a great influence on her, and that was great. I'm happy for
And
her.
Rachel told her in the hotel after they were filming, this is the time you need to find your demons and to fix that shit. Because I think Rachel was trying to do her a solid by saying, if you want to be in this industry, you can't. No one, the volatility which you show, and that's something that people say, not sure I want that on my boat.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's
but she's got a long again, y'all. I went, well, maybe I kind of thought maybe she was one of those people that watched this show and maybe
me too.
made a turn. And then, y'all, spoiler alert, she's going to be shitty in the latter parts of the show.
I mean, she did bring up, we'll talk about it. She did bring up some interesting points, but like,
I'm really talking about her and Wes.
yeah, I mean, I think there was more than just that, but we'll get to it. I want to talk about Rachel, and Rachel was one of the big. She kind of got a. I'm glad they brought
You
up.
want to ride in her bus so
God, I
badly, don't you?
love yo. Rachel got her bus. I said it last season. Rachel's one of my favorite chefs of all time. I do have a soft spot for Ben, for Ben, because even though he's dirty and gross, I loved his. I
Sorry,
love.
we're not on video. I forgot. You want him to? I was making a bang
No,
symbol.
I love. He's just so British and just spiny with his insults. I'll always love Ben, but like Rachel has the same. You guys, you expect cuckoo crazy out of a chef. That's just what you expect. But Rachel's brought this. She's brought crazy and fun, but she does stuff she does her job so well. And I'm glad she brought this up. And everyone else. And remember, we had this saying. I said this, and I don't know what you said. I think you may have poo-pooed me, but she said, shellfish and fish are completely different. And I said, yeah. And you're like, well, it is kind of the same.
No,
but
I still disagree with that. I think it's a very culinary perspective to think that. I think because what I was thinking of when I said that is I think about people from like where I am right now in Oklahoma. Shellfish and fish is this. It's all from the sea. To them, it's
no,
fish.
but they're so different.
I understand from a culinary perspective, and you're not a chef, but you are a seasoned cook. And even I think of it personally as different. But some of these people that are coming on these boats are not from Los Angeles or from Maine or places where there's seafood. If you're from Dallas, Texas, shellfish and cod are both fish.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
Anyway, I was still kind of surprised by that, because I still think they're very different. But anyway, I get it. I like when Rachel's like, I'm not making raw lobster.
Not making raw lobster.
And they talked about the jaw wired shut lady and the blended oysters, which was my puke moment of the season. Anyway, but I just think Rachel has, even though we saw the worst of Rachel when she had to deal with someone who wasn't upfront with her. Strangely enough, Rachel is fine if you give her just enough information. If you give her too much, like Heather, she gets upset. And if you don't give her anything, like Francesca last season, you will face her wrath, and you will have to eat her cooter. Yeah. Anyway, that's mine.
Not my liking. All right, y'all. We're going to talk about the stew situation when we come back from this break. All right, we're back. Poodle got situated.
Well, my cord is falling on my leg, and it tickles me, and I don't like it.
Oh, and you haven't been feeling well, and so you haven't had a man's touch for a while, so it probably also makes you aroused.
It's been a long time since I felt the touch of a man. Oh, the whiskey on his breath. As his firm, hard, coarse calluses rubbed across my milky thighs.
And his wife calling his cell phone.
Oh, his goddamn wife.
Okay,
ring.
Let's talk about the stew situation, and meaning Andy Cohen asked Captain Lee. He said, there was a lot of problems with the stew this season, and he said, Captain Lee, I'm going to ask you, who do you blame Who's the main kind of beginning of this problem? And Captain Lee says, very Captain Lee, get it? He says, who's to blame for the problem this season? He said, it's me. The blame lies with me. I'm the captain. It all falls on me. And I laughed when he said this, Poodle, because I thought in my head, what would Captain Sandy say when Andy asked that, Poodle?
Well, there are situations where it's not about whose fault it is. It's about learning from a situation. And yes, maybe it was your fault. Maybe it was his fault. Maybe it was all of your faults. The most important thing is that I stood here and watched all of you do it. And I witnessed all of it. So I can be here to tell you how wrong you did it. That's the most important thing. And that's how we're going to become a ship-shape ship. You know what ship-shape is? That's how a ship moves. Ship-shape. Like things are in the shape of a ship.
We get
understand?
It, yeah, we get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come see my C word tour.
See, so instead of
C word,
the C, like that show with Laura Linney?
Yeah, come see the C word.
Okay.
That's not what it is, but it's something like seaworthy or it's something awful. It's something
I forgot what it's called.
Or
lead her ship tour. Lead her ship.
God. Or C is for courage.
C is for courage.
It's some shit like that. The other C word.
The other C word.
God, I hate her. You know what? I want, after this season of Below Deck, give me another Captain Sandy season because at least I can fucking hate watch her.
Yes. Okay, so they kind of talk about stuff in like Raina eye rolling and all this kind of, and Captain Lee's thoughts on how Eddie did. And although Captain Lee, he gave a long explanation, but he never answered the question if I would bring back Eddie as a first officer.
No, he did not.
I think he would, but he didn't answer that question.
I think, and this is just me thinking here, this may be completely off base, and I may be thinking way too much of Bravo, of what Bravo will do if they don't care. I don't know if Eddie has a future from the way Eddie handled. He might be fruit of the poison tree.
Where they feel like they need to take, well, we'll talk. You're talking about the N words, so let's talk about that now.
I don't know. Maybe they'll keep him. Maybe I was kind of surprised he was back, frankly, because his situation with Rocky and kind of gaslighting her, and he's liked, weirdly, he's liked by a good 60% of the Below Deck audience. I always forget why I should dislike him because he's a good time, fun guy. And then I'm reminded, I'm like, oh, right, he did that. So I don't know. We'll see.
This kind of segment starts with Andy Cohen saying,
God, still the worst host. Fuck.
He said, let's talk about Heather's use of the N-word. The N-word should not be said by white people ever, anywhere. How brave. I
know. He's let's all get something straight.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that he has to say it, but then maybe I'm like, well, people still need to hear that. Well, but still, after Bravo being totally radio silent on all of this.
Right. That's why this feels like lip service.
Y'all, I want you to think about the way TLC handled the comments Alina made. And Alina didn't even say the N-word on a 90 Day Fiancé show. She just said it in her Instagram. Or the way
I can't believe we're praising TLC, but yes.
Or the way Bravo has handled Jenny on Salt Wives, and now they made a statement about Jenny that she's no longer going to be
Well,
on the show.
and know that I will say, not to pat Andy Cohen on the back. Andy Cohen is not a producer on Below Deck.
That's true. That's
He is
true.
a producer on the Housewives franchise.
He is a producer, so maybe that's. But anyway. So they finally made a stance, and so and y'all, we don't need to go into. I think what's more important, Heather, she's appalled. She apologizes again. We've heard this, and so we hear a little bit of Raina kind of talking about how, and I understand this, and I sympathize with Raina of this. She didn't want to bring this up and keep bringing the angry
And be
black
the angry
woman.
black woman.
Or
Yeah.
she said, I don't want people to say, oh, look, she's going ghetto. I get that. That's a reason. And that is a reason why a lot of women don't speak up and say things.
Yeah.
Black women. And so I get that.
I totally understood where she was coming from. Yeah. There. Yeah. And I know why she didn't want to be. I did have a problem when she's like, I just wanted to be cordial and I just wanted to keep going. That's what you weren't, though.
But she wasn't. That's it, deal. That, like, I get it. You weren't cordial and you didn't keep going, and it was affecting your job.
Yeah.
So,
it was disrupting a work environment.
And so then we find out this was one good thing about this reunion. Poodle and I always say a reunion should give closure to some things, or it should shed light or new information that we didn't know. And new information is we didn't know that Eddie and Raina, because y'all, Poodle and I said this too on the show. Eddie totally shit the bed with the way he handled the Raina thing. He totally shit the bed.
And we found out there was some more stuff off camera that wasn't showed. And we both kept saying, why does this feel like it has been discussed? She's like, I talked to you 3 times. I'm like, we saw it once. It didn't seem like he knew even then what to do about it. It's and then we saw a little bit, and then so basically he was talking to her. It wasn't we had never seen this scene where he was saying, well, don't. He's like, I know. He's like, but you've said things like the F word. He's meaning faggot, basically. And she said,
we can say that, y'all can't.
But she said, no, I didn't say that. She said, my sister is gay. I would never say that. And Andy said we could not corroborate that with production, but we did find it one time. And I was kind of like, it was all a little confusing.
It wasn't clear. And then Raina kind of started going off and yelling. She's like, he's trying to discredit me. And he's like, no, Raina, I'm saying we didn't find it. And then they showed the clip. And it was, y'all, whether Raina said it or not, I felt like, I want to know your take on it, but I felt like it was cringy. Like, it was. Even if she did say the F word, wrong place, wrong time. This isn't about that.
It's not fair to equate the two. It's not fair to equate any type of being offended by that word or the other or the N word. It's not fair to equate any of that. It's not fair to say, well, you did this, so it's okay that she did that. That's not fair, and it's not just. No.
And I can understand
Eddie fucked up big time.
And I almost wish they would have shown that, because that would have made, this is a bit on editing of, we felt like Raina, like what's going on with Raina that she can't get past this with Eddie. That would have brought a lot more context to me for that, of seeing her frustration with that.
And we were talking about this before the show. And Captain Lee said something like,
Raina did say, you tried to ruin me. He did not try to ruin you. He's a clueless white male privileged man who doesn't have any fucking idea of how to handle this.
Right.
That's not an excuse, but
I don't think he actively tried to ruin her.
Yeah, I don't think he tried to ruin her.
But what Captain Lee said, because they asked him, and he's like, well, Heather apologized. We referred it to production. Because this is the thing, you guys. Yes, maritime law is important, and you have to do all this. Production makes the calls.
Well, yeah, I want you to finish.
Production decides what's to do.
I want you to finish. We took it to production.
We referred this to production, and production said
there was an investigation.
There was an investigation.
And then they concluded no further action is required.
So production decided no further action was required. And it's kind of like, we've been hard on the cast, and we've demanded answers from the cast. No one has demanded an answer from production.
Yes, and
So
exactly, and
I think Raina tried to, but she did it in a way of saying, y'all didn't blah. She kind of accused production instead of saying, why didn't you do this when either someone.
she should have she didn't do the mother poodle way of asking people, but wait a minute, and
Yeah.
trying to get try and just get an explanation instead of accusing them. And
Yeah.
all this part, I'm watching this and I'm going, okay, Raina, I see you. I
I
get
see. I completely kind of like, I understand why you were upset. I
why you,
understand you must have felt really gaslit, and
yeah.
and I completely was there with her.
And I
And
was like, okay, you've got beautiful makeup. You're working on your demons. I
yeah.
see why Eddie was. Am I still going to start to like you, Raina? Like, am I going to start to think that you could be a fun person to hang out with? Am I? Oh, wait. Let's talk about Wes and Raina.
Now they do bring it up near the end, and they bring it up right near the very end of the show, and Wes says, um, "Did you guys?" Or Andy says, "What did you guys discuss this? Where are you, Wes?" And he's like, "I'd love to discuss it fully one day." And I think Andy said, would you want to apologize for that?"
He said, I get
Um,
it all. It broke my heart when he said, I get it all the time. I get it. I
I
get it.
know
You
this
know,
was, and there were two things
oh,
that really like hurt watching. Is Raina actually self-soothing, like moving back and forth, and
mm-hmm.
everything she's going through, probably really testing her sobriety
Yes.
in this, and like her physically she was hard to take. And Wes saying, I get this all the time. It was
So
two
him
different, very.
which is what she did. Raina did that on the boat. She kind of
Yeah.
had those moments of like, yeah, it had like when when Heather would apologize to her, you would kind of see her shrink her in herself and
Right.
be like, I get it. And then for Raina to sit there and to not fucking apologize to him on
Yeah.
air was, I think, such a shitty thing to do. And I just, any sympathy or likability I had for her was completely flushed down the fucking toilet.
Yeah, because that was a really, besides the initial inward moment, this was the second one.
This was a
This
sec, and
was
it goes back to what I say. Like y'all, you can have all the sympathy for world in the world for Raina because someone said the N word in her company, but at the end of the day, Raina's a shitty, selfish person,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
the fact it just
I can't see someone who's been disenfranchised, and I can't approve them disenfranchising someone else right in front of them.
And even if she and Raina might say, "Well, I'm not sorry. I don't fucking give a care. Be an adult and say you're sorry to someone who's hurting. That is of
Yeah.
your own, even if they're only half your race." I just can't imagine calling someone, saying that to someone who is like, if I said to like let's say, this is a bad phrase to describe it and not a good one, but if let's say a man was straight acting and I yelled at him and said, "You're not even gay. You don't even act gay. You act like a straight man." Like, and then I have a chance, like I know what being discriminated against feels like.
Yeah.
Raina knows she just was. I just
I
ugh.
think I think I think
Her poor therapist has a lot
I
to deal
think
with.
I think she probably never forgave him for never forgave Wes for not taking up for her. And I feel like she's not
Then
ready to.
Then say that. Then say, "I
Yeah,
shouldn't have said that to you. That was a shitty thing that I was hurting because I wanted you to take up for me, but that's
right.
not really the truth. I should have." That's all we would have needed to hear.
I
And
agree.
then we could have had a conversation of, should Wes have taken up for her and what was that like for her to be on her own? And I would feel sympathy for her again.
Right. I
I
agree.
never want to see her again on my TV.
And then my favorite part of this reunion was when Andy went, "Well, I guess that's it for now." And I went,
it just kind of
he
ended.
does the worst transitions in the world.
It does.
Well, we had a great season.
We had a great Captain
No,
Lee.
you didn't, you piece of shit.
No, you didn't. Captain Lee
This
gives
was
a gold
miserable.
star for he gives a gold star for Wes on the crew, which I agree with. And Fraser is now a chief stew.
Yeah.
Woo!
What did when he explained why he gave the gold star for Wes, I didn't follow.
He said because he actually said because Wes kept his head down, he accepted his mistakes and he learned and he corrected his mistakes and he actually kind of just was a good team player. That's basically what I got from it.
I guess, but we didn't see any of that because all the other drama that was happening.
Yes.
I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm saying we didn't see any of that.
No, we didn't.
We saw Wes. There was some stuff blew away, but that was like after about episode 5 or 6, we kind of forgot about that.
Yeah.
And Wes has been just kind of like, he did keep his head down. I guess who else can you give it to? Because obviously not Eddie and obviously not Raina.
No.
So Jake's not there.
You're not going to give it to Heather, the person who said the N-word. No. Jessica. So yeah, that's true.
So no, I don't doubt that happened. I'm saying we did not see that in footage.
We didn't see it. I don't care anymore. We're done, y'all. We're done. Selling y'all better bring it.
February 21st, y'all. This show, I've only watched. I never watched season 1 because I actually started watching season 1 and it was a snooze, and so I stopped. But everyone says Sailing Yacht season 2 was unbelievable. I've watched a couple episodes and they're right. So I'm very excited to see Captain Glenn and Daisy and some of the other hot guys.
I'm excited too, y'all. So we'll be doing that. In the meantime, y'all, this weekend, Love is Blind is dropping just in time for Valentine's Day on Netflix. And a lot of you, if you don't remember Love is Blind, it was a couple years ago, but it blew up on Netflix. It blew up for us too. A lot of people found us through Love is Blind.
Love is blind.
We're going to be putting 2 episodes up on the free feed, and that's a Patreon show, so our Supercast show. So that's going to go on the $5 tier. I think it's like normally 12 or 13 episodes, something like that, or 10.
I think it's 10 with maybe an 11 with the reunion.
But they do the reunion later. So, but we will be doing Love is Blind. We're super excited about that. Sailing Yacht, and then there was something. Oh, our crossover.
Yes. Oh, I was like, what? So we're doing for our Patreon, for our $5 Patreon, we do a By Curious every month. And however, for this month, for the previous month of January, we're going to do a crossover By Curious with the podcast Surviving Sister Wives on Sister Wives.
Y'all have begged us to do
They're the experts. We did not just want to watch 16 seasons of shows.
No.
But we're going to watch like the one episode and maybe a little bit of the tell-all, and we're going to say how our predictions, that's Corey and Carly from Surviving Sister Wives. And we'll be dropping our part on our free feed, and they will do the second half on their feed. For the Patreon, it'll all be in one place though.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
Hey everybody, go to our Linktree link. Come see us in Los Angeles at the Regent Theater on February 27th. That's coming up. Get your tickets now.
We have I'm not going to announce it today because I'm going to announce it on Wednesday. Well, maybe it's already been announced. It's already been announced, so I can say it. Maybe I can.
Well, this show will go. No, yeah, this will go up on Wednesday. You can announce it.
This is going to be announced, y'all. We have a special guest for our show in LA at the Regent. We have Katie and Kimberly from Date with Dateline, and they'll be talking. We're so excited. It's the first time they've ever done like a live show. And
yes.
I asked them and they said yes. So I'm very excited. We're very excited. And they're going to talk about 90 Day. We're talking about Love After Locked Up because they do that for their Patreon. And we're talking about talking a little bit about Dateline, some crazy shit that they want to talk about.
They want to talk about.
So
talk about. All right, everybody. Thank you for not jumping ship with us on this season of Below Deck.
Boy. I promise it gets better.
Better.
Will, this was such a bad season for you to
giving
like
you
join
sailing
this
yacht.
franchise.
I'm giving you sailing yacht, and if it sucks, I'm jumping ship. All right, everybody.
I wouldn't blame you.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you so much. Go to our website, Reality Gaze, and our Instagram, and the Linktree link to buy tickets. And until next season, y'all, all we have to say is
Anchors again.